Okay, folks, this is our second last session. This is one that I'm really excited about because we have some great guests. So we've got Mike, Chris, Vanessa, Emma, and Josh. So I can see Mike, I can see Emma. Good to see you again. I can see Josh. Who have we got? Who are we waiting on? I can see Vanessa, and I'm hoping to see Chris pretty soon. Can I see Chris? No, not yet. How are you, Emma? Long time no see.
Yeah, wonderful. And you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Incredible, by the way.
Yeah, it's a long day today, but we're getting through a lot of content here, which is really good. So yeah, thanks for coming on. Josh, where in the world are you? I know you're nomadic lifestyle. You could be anywhere.
I'm currently in Mexico, holding steady here for the time being. Yeah.
All right, stay where you are. Stay where you are. I think is the best move there. Mike's video keeps coming on and off. Can you hear us, Mike? Or are you okay there?
Yeah, I can hear you. We're just setting up some stuff here, and then we should be good in about a minute. 2 minutes.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time, Chris. Good to see you as well, and Vanessa. Hello again. Okay, well, Mike, I'll kick off anyway and just get the introductions going. But today's this is about growth. So this is about primarily about getting new members in the door, and I think I literally have all the people that I admire on this topic in the industry here in front of me. So this should be a really interesting little session. So I think we'll start with introductions and just everyone say hello. Give us idea what they do. Start with
the first one. I'm on the side. I'm really excited to be here in good company. So I am a sales and marketing strategist for fitness and wellness brands. I've been in the industry for about 20 years. Don't do the math on how old I am based on that. I am the host of the Business Side of Fitness podcast. And that's it. Excited to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, great to have you. Great to have you back. So Emma, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Great to be on. Kiwi, living in LA. I used to commute to Europe. Haven't done that a bunch in the last 17 months. Two hats that I wear. One is I consult to the fitness industry in innovative edge of fitness, and come from Les Mills, come from Equinox, and the other half of what I do is we launched Good Soul Hunting about a year ago, which is a executive search brand which serves fit tech, well tech, health tech scale-ups, usually around the Series B scenario. So very, very involved in matching accelerated talent with brands that are going somewhere, and very purpose-led, and thrilled to be on. Thanks for having us, Kevin.
Excellent, and great to see you innovating in the pandemic and starting new stuff. So well done on that. Chris, still conversation on the podcast. It was a big hit, so great to see you again. Let's give us a little introduction to yourself.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. Chris Cooper, founder of twobrainbusiness.com and author most recently of Gym Owner's Handbook. We have about 850 gyms worldwide now, and we're a mentorship practice for gym owners.
Excellent. Well, great to have you. And also you got a big shout out earlier on from one of our customer spotlights from Movement. So
oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. Ronan was saying great things. And Josh, good to see you again, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kevin. I am the yogi who hates yoga. I grew up in a yoga family, wasn't into it, and ended up becoming a yoga teacher, running and owning and building yoga studios. So that journey has ultimately led me to being a full-time nomad with my family of 5. And we stopped counting studios that we were visiting in North America, a little over 100. Obviously the pandemic has slowed us down, but now we've been lucky enough to work with like 1,000 studios all over the world. And I think that the major, coaching that we provide and offer to people is the realization that yoga has actually taught you a lot more about business. And you have to kind of unlearn the yoga dogma that business and yoga are not connected things. So I'm really excited for our conversation today because I think it's going to challenge that for more of the yoga crowd maybe listening in.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to get some of that content because there's isn't as much of that out there. Mike, great to have you. Camera's working. So I can't hear you. Can I hear you?
Yeah, you can.
I can.
You
Great to hear and see you again. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I think I've met a couple of you guys. So my name is Mike Arce. I'm the CEO of Loud Rumor, and our company helps fitness studios throughout the world grow and scale. And we have a podcast called the GSD Show. It's #1 podcast in the fitness business world. And we have a great conference called GSD Con that we host every year as well. And I think I heard somebody about kids. So I've got 4 kids, 3 dogs, and a wife.
Good stats. Okay, so I only have you for the next 40 minutes, so I'm going to make the most of the time, and there's a lot of voices here. This is about growth, but maybe to start out, maybe with you, Mike, we're talking about let's call it a return to growth for a lot of businesses. What are you seeing in the industry that leads you to believe that the fitness industry fitness businesses are going to come back stronger than ever?
Well, first, before I tell you why I believe it, I'm going to tell you that I believe it by proving it. So I've already invested in stock with F45. I've invested in stock with Exponential. Both went public in the last 10 days. I'm actually in the process of taking over a fitness studio franchise brand, or I'm sorry, they're not a franchise yet, but they could be a franchise. And that's what we're looking to do. And I'm actually looking at partnering with a couple people as well to actually create our own portfolio studio. So the fitness studio clients that we work with, especially on the coaching side, we've seen already just in the last 2 months, they're having better months than they've had in the last 3 to 4 years. So all of that is giving me confidence, right? As far as, when we have a big pool like that, we're talking 113 people are just in the highest level coaching program we've got. When we see that the growth, the trajectory, that's what gave me the confidence to go, okay, I need to just start investing. This is about to blow up. So I'm more than confident. I'm more than excited. And I think the franchisors I'm speaking with too are starting to feel the same way.
Excellent. And I guess there's probably been a lot, like a follow-up question for you still. I guess there's been a lot of people who've been through some difficult times. So what are you advising people when it comes to their mindset, how they need to be thinking about the industry? I know your mindset, but how do you kind of talk to people and help them, I guess, think about growth?
Yeah, I don't think, I don't think there's anything somebody can do to just start thinking positively. I think you've got to get around the people that are doing it, because naturally, if you're around people that are growing at a faster pace than you thought was possible, you now change your mindset around possibility, like what is possible. So I think people just need to stop sulking or wanting to figure things out with their internal staff on what we can do. And I think GloCon, like, this is a great example, just being in a room like this and being able to hear what's happening and going to other conferences, listening to podcasts, looking out for who the top franchisees are within your franchise. If you're an independent, then, listening to podcasts like this and conferences and seeing who's winning in the space. How do I reach out to them and take them to lunch? Even if I have to fly to Denver to go do it, it's worth it. What's a flight going to cost me? $300 to go there and back, and then the lunch for $350. Can I increase my monthly revenue by 20, 30 grand in the next 6 months? The answer is yes, if you get around the right guy. So I think we just have to, best advice is get yourself around people that are already doing it, and your mindset will shift without you intending to do so. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That's a good kickoff for this conversation. So Emma, it's been a while since we spoke, and I kind of have the same questions for you. Really, what are you seeing around growth in the industry? How are you feeling about it, and where are you seeing the positive signs?
Well, 100% what Mike said. I mean, look, we've never had more resources, more money, more IPOs, more awareness coming into the industry, whether it's coming in adjacently or from fitness. In fact, we're going to be more influenced by adjacent industries anyway. The big boys, the big money, the real business, and the fact that health is now the biggest conversation on the planet. And it was interesting, I was just looking at some Arce stats this morning. So for the first time ever, we're going through summer at the moment, and it's not to lose weight, even though most of us have put on weight over the time. It's actually to be active, to get our mental stability back, to actually be a fully functioning human. And I think that broader conversation is not only going to bring the 20% that we're currently serving, but the 80% that we're not. And we're just going to have to find more engaging ways to bring them in. So we already know, as Mike said, those that have been opening, and we're opening and closing, and it's still a bit of a shit show around the world, but people who have opened, people are rushing back. Sure, we lose some members, but they're also noticing a new cohort in that new the new people that are joining as well. So we're definitely seeing, a much bigger pie, much bigger piece of the pie. And I think, and there's nothing but indication there. We know from Ursa stats that the half that, or the 50% that cancelled, half of those guys are definitely coming back, and girls. So I think there's just positiveness all over the place. And by the way, we've got to do a better job. So we've got to do a better job so that people want to come back. So I'm seeing nothing but positive. You're going to get all the doomsday in the press because they love to do that. But all the indicators are pushing up, provided we do a good job.
Yeah, and I'll get on to how we do a good job in a minute. But just to put you on the spot, I'm not sure if Mike has these shares, but like in terms of like the Pelotons and the pure at-home fitnesses, and how do you think they're affecting the gym and studio industry?
You asking me or?
I think I got the shake of the head, so I don't think you have the shares. But I was just looking for Emma's. I'll come back to you.
I did not invest in at-home stuff.
Will the at-homes continue to grow and all of that sort of stuff? Was that the question?
Yeah, and are they much of a threat?
Look, I think, people are going to make their choices, right? There's going to be some people who just want to do it at home. Some people just want to do the club. But the greater sense is, if we look beyond the next 2 years, it's going to be everywhere. I want to do my stuff wherever I am. It's going to be contextual. Yes, it's much more powerful if I come together, but there's a convenience factor. I've got 6 kids. There's 2 days I can't go in. I'm going to do a bit at home. I'm going to go out generally. So it's definitely going to be this hybridized world. I talk a lot about phygital, where we're going to bring in the best of physical and the best of digital, and our life is just going to roll out, and we're going to do things wherever we are. So if we can get beyond the complexity of now and what on earth's going on and all the franticness, it's going to be that world. So, Peloton and those guys, of course, look, but what have they done? They've lifted awareness. They've done, whatever people's opinions are, they've spent a lot of money raising fitness. They've done a very good job. They've shown that fitness influencers can have a place. They've shown that entertainment has a place. They've shown that partnership has a place. I mean, no one saw Precor coming, I don't think. I mean, we're all like, whoa, what did they just do? But it was brilliant. So we're going to see a whole new world of lifestyle. And I think a lot about lifestyle. And then it's going to be digital, it's going to be physical, it's going to be all of those things. But we will get to a point, there's going to be a thinning of the herd. There's going to be a settling period. Not everything's going to survive. We're seeing franchising and licensing on fire, because once you're actually running a really solid business, you can actually expand out. So yes, I believe the good of connected fitness is going to survive, the good of franchising is going to survive, the good of at home, and every iteration in between. There's going to be a leveling, I believe, of pricing. I think pricing's kind of, and I know we're going to get to that later, that's kind of all over the paddock too, but people are going to choose the things that they love and they're going to stick with them, I believe.
Got it. Okay, I'll take that as I'll take your lead on that, and I'll put Chris on the spot around pricing. So Chris, I know we've talked in detail around data and that, but what patterns are you seeing around pricing, whether it's online, whether it's in the gym, in the box and studio? What trends are you seeing?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So first off, just in general, gym owners from our data set of 6,500 gyms see an initial surge of 8 to 22% in revenue. But the interesting thing is, like, that's not directly correlated to number of clients. So they might see a surge of, 2 to 15% of clients, but the clients who are coming in now are actually paying more, and the perception of value is greater than it's ever been. And so what that means is that most gyms are now not just saying, come and try a class and we're going to sell you a class package. It's usually a higher ticket offer, like a transformational package, or something that at least includes different facets like nutrition coaching or lifestyle coaching and exercise.
So you're seeing kind of businesses having to offer, being more flexible with their offers and offering a broader range of stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, the shutdowns really did gym owners a favor, because it showed them really clearly, like, here's what's most important to your clients. Here's what your clients care about. And the proof was in the market. The gyms that were offering what the clients actually cared about kept their clients and had a really strong starting position when they reopened. The gyms who were just kind of selling like a class-based membership, they didn't. They lost up to 80% of their revenue. Some of them closed. And so now that clients are coming back in, the gym owners are usually a lot more focused on, here's what my clients want, here's what's going to get them results. and they have a better perspective on what they should be charging for it. So where most were undercharging before, now they're charging the real value, and the new clients coming in are higher value clients.
Got it. So you're saying, I guess the stronger businesses that survived probably have more value in them, and that's enabling them to charge a better price.
Yeah, there's also some, rational optimism happening
Sure.
there for sure, where,
Cool.
I'm seeing people sell the same thing that I am on the delivery side for 10 times as much. That's frustrating, but it also tells me that this is really how my clients value my service.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Vanessa, like with all of these things that are changing in the industry, when you're coaching businesses, like what are you telling them specifically, say in the areas of marketing and how to put their messaging together and their offers? What advice are you sending their direction?
Number one rule, don't go discount crazy. That's something that I can't stand. I think it devalues your product. And I think there's a lot of noise in the space right now, right? I think we can all agree that all of a sudden there's a flood of digital, and then, owners and operators are saying, okay, well, how can I compete with a $9.99 digital product? Well, you can't. So instead of getting focused on what else is happening in the marketplace, I'm just telling people to drill down on what makes their offering unique. Survey your members, find out what it is that they value the most. What is it that they enjoy the most about your services? Drill down on all the things that Apple Fitness and Peloton can't offer. They can't offer a warm smile when somebody walks in the door. They can't say, hey, Kevin, how are your kids doing? How did your son perform in his soccer game yesterday, or whatever, right? So I really recommend that people drill down on their value and just kind of not get caught up with digital as a threat. A rising tide lifts all boats. And right now there's a lot of spotlight and attention on the worlds of fitness. People understand that they need to prioritize their health, and we are poised to really take off. We just have to stay confident in what we have to offer and understand that we have to be adaptable, but we also don't need to completely get distracted and change our business models just because new offerings are coming into the marketplace.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And just a follow-on question, like just looking at the Q&A here on the event, half of the questions are about online, how to price it, what to do with it, how to set it up. What's the I guess the short answer on that stuff?
I would bundle it. If I'm an owner and operator of an in-person studio, I would bundle that into the price that I offer. I would maintain price integrity, not go down to the dumps of just trying to discount or trying to get people, don't get away from your special sauce. I feel like so many owners and operators of brick and mortar locations are trying to be digital fitness companies, white label. There's so many offerings and options out there for you to offer a quality product without getting distracted from your bread and butter, right? Like, don't now all of a sudden try to get some crazy studio concept going on if you really can't afford that. You have to look at what makes you special, what your brand is positioned to do, and move slowly in that direction. As far as digital, add that value so that somebody can come in, and you have that in-person experience. But then if they can't come into the gym, like Emma said, somebody has 6 kids, God bless them, but if somebody has 6 kids, they can work out at home as well, but they still have that brand loyalty to your brand instead of having to go out and acquire some other app or whatnot. So that way you're able to keep people in your ecosphere.
Okay, that's great. That's a great answer. Makes a lot of sense. So Josh, like I know you're doing primarily yoga, but you're obviously talking to lots of businesses. So what's changing in terms of the advice that you're giving businesses and how they should grow?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest differences specifically in the yoga world, but this would be true with a lot of more class-based boutique fitness, is you have to reevaluate what you're calculating your optimized dollars for. So where yoga studios used to just be trying to get a maximum number of memberships because you almost never ran out of capacity, we've just gone through sort of reevaluation of what capacity in a yoga studio looks like. So now you have to optimize for dollars per person on the floor. And it's the first time in the yoga industry we've had to do that, but it's a really positive thing because it's also to the talk of pricing, like Chris is suggesting, it's letting people increase their prices for the first time in literally 2 decades in the yoga world. And it needs to recalibrate that direction, because the in-person experience with a highly trained instructor who's giving you one-on-one attention deserves to have a fair price attached to it. So that's one of the big things.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I kind of get it, but maybe I need to be explained just one more time on how we're getting these prices up. But because and I think especially in the yoga context, because it seems like it seems to me like it works we see more yoga studios going online than fitness studios, even in our own data. So it's a bigger thing. And maybe just explain to me, how do you prevent that race to the bottom in terms of price?
Yeah, actually, I would just echo exactly what Vanessa said. You don't start a new business. You bundle it into your existing business and look at it as a value add, and the payout for it is better client retention. Because the truth, like Peloton and these other purely digital platforms have done us all a massive favor that no one wants to highlight, because we look at them as competitors. And they've created culture around being in shape in a better way than we've ever seen before. There's only 3 things people buy: transformation, community, and status. And they're creating more status to be associated with being in shape and being healthy. So if you as a local yoga studio are now online and that's just bundled into what you do, I can get 1 more practice in per week or 2 more practices in per month. And the data on that is clear as day. That increases client retention by like thousands of %. Just getting that extra practice in. So I think looking at it that way versus that it's a separate category and that we should try to compete in that separate category, you have to completely separate yourself from that.
Got it. Okay, that's really useful. Back to you, Mike. I know like you create a ton of content yourself. I'm really would love a quick lesson in like delivering a sales pitch post kind of post COVID. Like how are people adjusting that, and what are they selling?
Well, so here's the thing. I don't address COVID in a sales pitch. I don't recommend people even address it unless you're in a hot zone and you're having to, like, unless there's something unique about your studio. You have to wear masks, you have to be at capacity, or there's some big things going on where there's big machinery cleaning stuff in between classes. Your members are going to see it. But if everything's normal, just sell the program. I think the biggest thing that I'll actually stop it. I know for a fact that based on just seeing it and watching people improve once they fix it, the biggest area for improvement is from the very first few touch points of that prospect. Everybody is working on, okay, how do I overcome these objections? You know, when they say I got to speak to my wife, I can't afford it, or I need to think about it, or whatever, location. Most of it's not true. Most of them are smoke screens. Now, sometimes it's true, but most of the time it's not. But what happens is it's kind of like if let's say one of you guys here was on a date. Let's take one of the ladies, Vanessa, if you're on a date right now, and at the whole date, you were not really that impressed, right? And now at the end, the guy asks you to go out, hey, let's do next Thursday. Chances are, you're probably going to find a way to get out of it. You're probably going to say something like, oh, you know what, I got family coming into town, or I got finals I got to study for. And he goes, oh, what subject? You say math. He goes, I'm a math tutor. And you go, oh, you know what, I got my own way of studying. No matter what, you give him an objection, then you give him another objection. If he overcomes it, you give him another one. And that's what we see here. Got to speak to my husband, then you overcome it. Well, I got to think about it, you overcome it. The truth is, it's more advantageous to stop focusing on how to overcome objections and learning how to actually have a great onboarding. So that first call, that first touch, the tour. Most people don't even focus on how to create a perfect tour. You get different tours from whoever toured you that works at that company. Everyone's different. But that tour should be strategically designed so that they're getting sold more and more before they even do that free trial class. They're sold beforehand. The class is just validating their decision. So the same thing with Vanessa. The guy, it'd be more advantageous for him to learn how to be a better date than to learn how to overcome an objection at the end, because chances are he lost her at the drinks, not at the ask. And so my advice is, if you're going to learn how to do sales, learn the whole process. Too many people focus at the end. You've got to focus at the beginning. And if you get that down, just like on a date, you can mess up a little bit, and it's okay. They'll still go with you and sign. So really learning the beginning part of that sales process is the most important.
Yeah. And tell me, say pre-date, like what are you seeing in terms of marketing, in terms of like how competitive it is to be running online marketing campaigns, like all of that stuff? Like what are you seeing changing right now?
It's really not competitive. Here's the thing. Everybody's fighting over a general 5-mile radius. And generally the average 5-mile radius in the average area is going to have 60 to 80,000 women, just women 20 to 55 years old. The average studio can hold 500 to 1,500 members. So, and that's just the women, you got 60. So at the end of the day, the reason it feels competitive is because most people are doing the same things. I've got one guy, if you actually watch a more recent episode of the GSD show, his name's Nate. He's adding 80 to 90 paying members per month for the last 5 months in a row at $180 a month. Kickboxing, just kickboxing. But if you look at what he did, he goes, I'm not just gonna keep doing what everyone's doing. He's actually creating some incredible organic content. Now, what he does is he hires a videographer to come in, $15 an hour out of college to just shoot incredible video. And then he outsources somebody to edit and make some great videos. The content that he produces is so great, and because he tags his members in it who look awesome in a very well-produced video with music, they're sharing it. And so he's literally getting, not kidding, he showed me the DMs, it's on the episode, 3 to 5 DMs a day of people going, how do I get a free class? How do I get a free class? Why is it so easy for him to win? Because it's no one's doing that. So if you're gonna keep doing what everyone's doing, yeah, you're in a very competitive market. But if you just think outside the box a little bit, it's like learning a new punch in a room of people that don't know how to fight. And it's, you know, very easy to win a fight that way.
Interesting. Maybe over to Emma. Like, I know you're kind of got your fingers in a few pies there, and you're kind of a global, I guess, network. I think we're definitely seeing a lot of positivity, I think, in the US right now. Like, what are you seeing on a global basis? Like, what places are hot and easy to get going, and what places are still struggling?
Yeah, it's been interesting. We made the strategic decision to stay in the States. We thought for a hot minute to go back to New Zealand. And we're pretty happy we made that decision at this point, because the US, amongst many things, we're very good and we're very bad, but this really brings out the entrepreneurial spirit. So we have a lot of buoyancy in the US right now. I mean, obviously anyone who's watching the SPACs and investment stuff going on right now, there's a lot of activity, even though various states are in various stages of close down and they've all got a different sentiment around it. So the US has been quite, I mean, we had sort of like maybe 3 months of what the hell's going on, and then everyone's like, right, got to change, got to shift gear. It's what the US does really well. So I'd say innovation's never been higher. People have been shifting channels a lot. It has been, because we operate very strongly in the UK as well. That's been a much slower market. You guys kind of closed down and kind of closed down. So that would be something that I would say there. Other innovative hubs we've seen, and we've had a lot of fit tech coming in from Germany, from Israel, a lot of software, particularly companies coming out of Australia. So we're seeing little hotspots of activity. I'd say entrepreneurial spirit here. I'd say lots of innovation happening sort of in the outposts. And then as people come back, they're sort of spending a lot of time on forums like this and trying to pull down best practice. In the actual recruitment side, the search part which we're in, we're seeing a lot of shift of roles. We're placing a lot of people adjacently from other industries who've been where the fitness industry is now trying to go. More digital marketers, more growth marketers, more people who have expanded a brand very quickly, franchisors from other industries. We're seeing them sort of edge in because the skill set's kind of the same. They've been where we're trying to go. We're a very young industry, only 50 years old. All these other industries, retail and, you know, all the other things, they're able to bring a skill set in because people are still our greatest asset, but they have to be accelerating as our technology is. So that's one of the things that we place for. Whoever's at your top table is going to determine how successful you are, whether you're here in 5 years, and how fast you're going and the magnitude of your business. So some of the things that we're seeing, I guess, across search and innovation. And we've been very active in the fit tech, you know, the fit tech out of Munich, and we've been looking at all those things. We've got CES coming up. I'm still looking into the trends from when I attended at the top of 2020. And I think we can see a lot of stuff come in. Like wearables, we only really talk about wearables. There's a whole lot of other stuff. All the realities are coming, like for sure. I've seen some beautiful concepts coming up that don't even have people. And I hate to say that because I'm a big group fitness person, but these iterations are also going to come to the fore, and they're going to be awesome because the data sets that sit under them are so huge, and the money is so deep. So yes, that's what I'm seeing.
And what specifically on the types of tech then that you think are actually going to become part of, say, a boutique studio? Like, what's that going to look like over the next couple of years?
Well, I think if you look at VR, so VR has the gift of presence. It can it can literally make that transformation so you actually feel like you're somewhere else. So I think that's going to be coming, whether it's through screens or whether or not the face mounted stuff gets small enough that it's not feeling like you've got a country on your head. So I think those things are coming. I was very impressed. There was a great Delta, I think it was Delta, presentation at CES where they talked about parallel realities, where you and I, Kevin, we're at the airport, I rock up, I look at the screen, it tells me we're onboarding. You rock up, you see your details. So I think there potentially could be some of that stuff. Augmented, where you're actually augmenting on reality. I think that will come in. I think that VR, I think that presence thing is going to be more powerful. I can be there with my friends. I can get my world exactly how I like it.
Yeah.
And this won't be for everyone. Some people don't like technology, but look at a 12-year-old boy and the addictive nature of gaming. If you brought that to the fitness industry and the early efforts, I think of, some of the early VR efforts, they're a bit clumsy and you're sitting there and you're punching blocks of ice going, why? So the sort of that, once we get beyond that and it becomes an environment that I really attune to, I think that's going to get pretty powerful, because you're talking about multi-sensory that I created based on my preferences.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. It sounds really exciting. Time is ticking on, so I want to I've got a lot of people on this panel who give advice all the time, so I'll go around with everyone with the same question. But I start with Chris, because we did have somebody who I know, like Ronan, who was on earlier on, and he said that he'd done your program and can't, it changed his business. So
Thanks, Ronan.
Yeah. And what are the list of mistakes that people are making when they come into you and they're looking to grow their business? What are the typical things that people on this call are doing right now?
Well, I mean, the most common mistake is the one that I made myself and nearly bankrupted me years ago. And that is thinking that marketing is the answer to everything. It's not. You have to get your business out of your head and make it replicable. And from there, you increase the value of your service by providing a better service, scaling your systems, looking for constant ways to improve how you deliver your service or your product. Then it's building on your retention system, so keeping the people that you get a lot longer. And then you start learning sales. And sales for us is motivational interviewing, meaning we don't have to, to Mike's point, you don't worry about overcoming objections. You worry about digging deep enough to find out what the person is trying to fix or solve or improve in their life. And then we work on marketing after that. But the problem that we see most commonly is that people skip those first few steps. They have no systems in their business. It's not scalable. As soon as they bring in 10 new clients, something breaks and they quickly lose those clients and their reputation starts to slide in the community.
Interesting. Okay, excellent. Michael, same question for you. I'm sure there's some overlap, but what type of things are people doing wrong today that they don't know they're doing wrong?
Going back to kind of the first answer, actually, because it's kind of tied the same way. We want our kids, if you guys have kids, we want our kids hanging around kids that are good kids, that are moving forward, that are respectful. And we don't want them hanging around knuckleheads and bullies, because we know that they'll become a product of their environment without them controlling it. Biggest mistake is they're all wanting to do it alone. That's the biggest mistake. Everyone's here wanting to figure it out, or they're going to their employees for help, or they're Googling stuff. And in reality, you've got to get in the mix. You've got to find a way to surround yourself around people that are winning. You can't help but learn. You can't help but get motivated. You can't help but get more confident. You can't help but even get more creative on your own. That's just, it's so powerful. I mean, to the point where we said, we've got to create like a community here. And so we've got like our private Facebook groups, and there's chapters where they're all meeting up. We have our boot camps quarterly where we get together. We have our conference. We're finding ways for them to get together because we want them to become friends. Because we know if they're friends, they're more comfortable asking, hey man, let's go grab lunch. And business ownership is a pretty lonely world. If you go to a party, where there's not a lot of business owners there, it's kind of hard to hold a conversation for most entrepreneurs. They don't really know what to talk about outside of work and business. But when they get around other business owners, it's like a really freeing experience. And so when you get 2 people, 3 people are all working towards the same thing with the same challenges, you naturally notice, like, you actually enjoy the conversation, you start looking more for it. So I think look for communities, make it that a point where you're going to talk to a person or 2 people every week, and you're actually going to get together with them. If you do that, everything else will fix itself. Like what Chris said, you hang out with a guy like Chris, you're going to naturally go, you know what, I probably should start looking at my retention numbers. You're just going to, he doesn't even have to tell you to do it. Just because hearing him, that's what he's working on today. You're going to go, man, I should probably start focusing on that. So I think it's just your community. Make sure you really get your friends, because nothing changes when you're an adult, you're a kid, as far as who you hang out with the exception of the control you have of your friends now. Your parents aren't making you have play dates.
Yeah, that's really good advice. There's definite strength in numbers. So I know this is going to get harder as I go around the room. I'm going to run out of mistakes, but I'll go to Vanessa. And what are you seeing as like something people are doing right now they don't know that they're doing?
I think, just to go back to my earlier point, it's like Emma's talking about all this VR and all this stuff is happening. I think a lot of people are getting nervous of like, oh God, how is that going to affect me, right? And I think we have to remember, like, okay, we've only really in the US penetrated like 20 to 30% of the population with fitness offerings. So a lot of these fitness offerings are going to be, the VR tech and all of that is going to be appealing to the 70 to 80% of people that do not have a gym membership. And that's a good thing. We shouldn't feel worried or threatened about that. We need more people moving. How else are we going to cure diabetes and all these other problems that we have with chronic disease? As far as operations, I see people so obsessed with acquisition and just letting retention fall out the wayside. You need to encourage frequency. It's not just about getting the member, it's getting the member to come in, right? We all want raving fans. Raving fans produce referrals, which is like the cheapest and easiest way to acquire a new client. If you're not encouraging frequency, you're making a mistake. Just having another person that you're like running an EFT on a monthly basis is not enough. You need to get them in. You need to encourage frequency and get them excited about it. With the sales process, I think people are neglecting to find that common ground. It's not just about the sales process. That person is a person. They're not just a prospect, right? Find that common ground with them. How can you connect with them? Oh, I grew up in New York too. Oh, I have 2 kids also. Oh, yeah, like whatever it is, find that common ground and relate to that person in the sales process. Simplicity sells. I see so many people, I think right now, like in the fitness world, during COVID, we got shut down. We weren't thought of as a legitimate industry. And I think a lot of people, try to impress prospects or potential members or consumers, however you want to refer to them, with a lot of jargon. And that jargon, instead of impressing people with, oh, wow, you're so professional and I understand like how the body works and all the body parts, it's confusing and it intimidates people. So just use simple language, the language of your customer, so you don't confuse them and have them go on to the next thing. I think right now there's also a really exciting opportunity to reach all these people that have, typically did not have a gym membership before. So you're going to see a lot of first-time users. In your marketing messages, use photos, use images of people like us. People want to see people like them. They don't want to see another ripped, shredded model with 6-pack abs that makes them feel bad about themselves. Start using images and verbiage that makes people feel welcome and included.
That's great. That's really useful, Vanessa. Thank you. Josh, what about you? What sort of nightmares are you coming across and mistakes that people are making?
I wouldn't necessarily say nightmares. I think the truth is there is a large portion of any small business owner, but wellness business owners that were borderline burnt out in 2019, and this has pushed them over the edge. So if they're still standing at this point, the number one mistake I'm seeing is they're standing still. They're holding their breath. They're not gearing up. They're not trusting in their own process. They're not trusting in their product as much or in themselves. And they're sort of just like hoping this is going to blow over. And then no one thinks it's going back to normal, but they're thinking that they're just going to come out some light at the end of the tunnel on the other side of this. And what they're missing is a real opportunity right now to build up their brand and to establish themselves in their local market. So the number one mistake I'm seeing is just literally like a lack of focus and consistency in delivering your powerful message about how awesome your experience is and why people should be participating with you today, right now. We're waiting for something.
And what's, just to follow up on that, what is the kind of 1 or 2 things that snaps people out of that? How do they address it, or what could they do today? to address
Well, I
that?
think as a business owner, as soon as you get a little bit of momentum, you'll feed off of that momentum. So that looks a little different for everyone. Maybe that means like you got a simple ad campaign you can put up and it's going to bring a new lead in, do that. Like you got to invest $100 into some coaching or something, do that. Like whatever it is, just take some action on it. But generally speaking, we always go back to like, why did you get in this? I don't know a yoga business owner outside of the corporate giants in the yoga business world that started their business because they love business. That's not why you got into this. You got into this because you want to spread the power of your product. So like, where is your motivation, your core, deeper, heart-centered entrepreneurial motivation coming from? It's from your practice and from teaching. Go teach the best. Can I swear? Go teach the best yoga class of all time. Yeah, go teach the best yoga class of all time and go take and work really hard in the studio for a couple of days. It doesn't need much. You need a couple good classes and then take that momentum, get fired up and go do it.
Yeah, that's really good. And for you, Emma, the mistakes that you're seeing.
Yeah, so the people I mentor individually in the businesses, I'd say that still people are still trying to be all things to all people, and I've worked for brands like that, and you will fail, and you'll spread all your resources really thin. So get really deep on why you're there. Get really good at the things you're super good at. Double down on those. Unpack all the touch points. Deepen the human moments so that those moments are really special. And then partner the rest. So if you need to build into a lifestyle brand, but you don't really do nutrition or coaching or mentoring or whatever it is, partner the rest. And then if we are feeling burnt out, and it's been much the theme, I know Mike spoke to it before, you've got to change your mindset. So I always encourage to step outside sector for inspiration. There's other businesses that are way along the path of business entrepreneurship and all of those things than we are. Get on a mastermind, get an accountability partner, find someone who's going to force you to grow, because you're always going to be tired. You're never going to find time. You've got as far as you can on your own. And really, all of us on this panel today, everyone in the world stands on the shoulders of what's gone before and what they've learned. So I would just say, focus down, double down on what you're great at, partner, and ask for help for the rest.
Yeah, like those are some really good points, I think. And just to kind of clear them up, because there's a lot there. You're talking about, when you say partner the rest, you're talking about literally, go and find other businesses that are offering things that you think you might have to offer, and just buddy up with them rather than burdening yourself with coming up with a new business.
Yeah, 100%. Don't launch an app, because you want to do digital fitness. Go and find someone like yourself or someone that really suits. All you have to do is turn up with the content, not worry about all the logistics. If you need a food partner, find someone who's going to offer what your members value as a food offering, or a dietitian that's local or whatever. Do that. Don't go, right, let's get into nutrition and let's all have our hands on. You won't. You're years behind, decades behind. If it's important to your membership, and that's something I would always say, because people say, should I go digital? What would your members pay for? What do they value? Because if all of them are going to say, we really want to be here, we're just about the community, you're wasting your money and your time.
Yeah, that's really good. And when you talk about just explain what accountability partner is, just for people who don't really know what that is.
It's as simple as someone who literally holds you accountable to stuff. So I've actually got one of mine on the call here now. I've got a bunch of them, right? So I have some for business, personal. I'm with Women in Fitness Association. We have accountability buddies. So we catch up once a week, and I'm a little bit scared of Meredith. So she's one of those people who we're sort of equivalent in the corporate world. But I don't want to turn up to my Friday meeting not having done the shit that I promised to do last week. So this is a person, and we know this from psychology. I will let myself down, but I won't let someone else down. And we know this from team training. We're watching the Olympics right now. It matters more to me that I don't let the team down than myself. So it brings that vibe. Choose someone. It could be a partner, a colleague, someone you don't even know, someone in another part of the world. You agree stuff, and then you hold each other accountable. It's as simple as that.
Got it. Okay. That's really useful. I think, I think in summary on that, if you've got no systems in your business, if you're not part of a community that's helping you, you've got a confusing marketing message, if you're not trusting in yourself, and if you're trying to be all things to all people, then you got to reassess where you're going. And maybe probably the biggest one, I think, is finding some accountability, or finding a community to be part of. I think it's because we all have to learn from each other. Okay, well, look, this has been you talk about the Olympics, this has been a marathon session of its own. So I just really want to say thank you to Emma, to Josh, to Vanessa, to Chris, and to Mike. You've been really good with your time. I think Emma has donated something book or something.
I'll send it anywhere in the world. So Building a Badass Boutique, if anyone wants that, you'll choose who's going to get it.
Yeah, we'll raffle that off tonight. We'll share that. And Mike, I think, is waving a book, so I think we might raffle one of his as well, if that's okay. You're on mute there, Mike.
Yeah, actually, anybody that wants to just go to fitnesssellingsecrets.com. We'll just send it to you.
Perfect. That's great. And we'll put a link in the show notes when we get all this stuff online. Okay, folks, that was really good. I wish I could talk to you for longer, but we got to go. I just want to say really thanks for your time. And yeah, stay in touch and stay safe, and we'll meet again soon.
Thanks.